Bada bing, bada.
Hi. I'm glad you're paying attention because I wasn't there.
Yeah, I was fucking prepared this time.
You were. You had it down.
We aren't editing out the beginning of this episode, okay? We're
Not
keeping
today.
it. That's
Not
correct.
today.
How we doing?
Doing
It's
good.
another
Missy.
Thursday night. Did you just call me Missy?
I did.
You saw my name. Okay. Guys, today I am Missy Elliott. I was going to write Missy Misdemeanor Elliott, but then I was like, I can never remember how to spell misdemeanor, and I'm not going to Google it. So therefore, we're just going to skip it.
We had a list for that, and we neglected misdemeanor. We might have to come back to that again. These lists we can repeat too.
We're going to
like
have
if we
to.
come up with different things to add to them, we can just redo some of the lists.
Yeah.
Today I am esoteric enamel.
I like it. I like they use esoteric. Thanks to Taylor for that.
Yes. And I don't know what it means. So I do know what enamel means. I only know what half of this name means. So I hope that those go together.
Those are strong odds. 50-50. Yeah. Are you kidding?
Sure. Now I kind of want to Google it.
Yeah, I actually would like to know what it means because
intended for or likely to be understood by only a small number of people with specialized knowledge or interest. That is kind of true because you have to be a dentist to really understand how enamel works, right?
It's appropriate. You actually did quite well, totally unintentionally. So
yeah.
It's so out of touch of you.
Yeah. Check.
I don't remember if we said this on the latest episode or just when we were having a conversation this week, but we said that we're geriatric millennials, and I was just going to say that was tracking with that joke.
Anyway. Speaking of that and being out of touch, we talked about Boris Johnson last week as the prime minister, and he has not been he has not been the prime minister for 2 years. Apparently someone on Reddit was
corrected you
kind enough to
cutthroat on Reddit. Also, to the men listening, if you're going to insult us, come up with a better insult than looks. Just think about it for 5 seconds, and
right, because my hair's looking good. Okay,
yeah, I look great today, so eat a bag of dicks.
Yeah,
Reddit. Thank goodness they corrected you. You needed to know that.
Yeah,
like Boris is not. Yeah, we're slowly warming up.
We'll get
there. Yeah, we'll get there. Yeah.
So the beginning of our episodes, usually there's a lot of editing in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then the end, not so much.
Yeah, it's typically you got to cut out like the first 5 minutes because we haven't fully gotten it together, or I don't have my mic on. I just want to say today I made sure to turn on my mic before you got in here.
You're coming in loud and clear, Missy. You're doing great. You just turned it off. Stop.
Why do I always do that? Anytime I start thinking about the mic or talking about it, it's a trauma response from being in too many meetings and too many virtual meetings.
So, this is the summer I turned pretty.
Yes, that acronym that's in our shared chat. Or you could just say like, because that's what I think that would sound like. Yeah, if you really enunciate, Tori, but you could really just shorten it to just. Yeah, that works.
I will say, I think I'm okay with this summer I turned pretty not happening, or happening later, or never.
Yeah, okay, so I wish I had just stopped at the first season. Did you watch the second season?
I attempted.
It was so sad.
I wouldn't know. So I got like a couple episodes in, and I was just so sick of the love triangle between the teenagers. And
yeah, it's like Twilight, but there's no vampires. So it's just like nobody's glittering or, like picking up a motorcycle with one arm, so it's not as good.
Yeah.
It's a Twilight retelling.
It did start, and it started out real sad.
It just the whole season was just sad, and I know that it's based off books, and I think they kept it pretty close to the story in the books, but was not a fan. Did you ever watch Firefly Lane? I think that's the title.
No. I watched Firefly, which was great. But not Firefly Lane.
That is also based off books. And it's a really good show, but it has a similar storyline where like one of the people gets sick eventually. I won't spoil that one for you because I think that one's actually a lot better than The Summer I Turned Pretty. I actually really liked that show because it bounces back and forth in time. So you see like you see the friends grow up together from like the time they're teenagers until they're like in their 40s.
That's fun.
So like that's really cool because you get to see all their relationships progress over time, and it kind of just continues to bop back and forth. And they also, so when they were teenagers, it's in the 70s, so it's the clothes are really cool, and the sets are really cool. So I definitely recommend that one.
This Is Us a bit.
Yeah, I only watched the first season of that. I think I didn't keep going because I was just like, this is just so emotional.
It's
anything
so
on like
good.
ABC,
yeah,
like, it'll break your heart.
I loved it though. Oof, that was a good show.
All the people who act in that show are just phenomenal.
Yes, yeah,
so good.
Jess,
I know. He still looks exactly the same.
I know. So hot. We got Bridgerton, came out today. I don't think either of us have had a chance to watch it at all.
No,
but
I rewatched Vanderpump before this. I was gonna watch Bridgerton, but I was like, I need to take notes for the podcast. And I feel like, one day we're gonna be getting paid to watch reality TV.
That would be amazing. Oh my God.
No, that's how it's gonna be.
Yes, it is.
It will be amazing.
And we treat it like work. We're like,
we really do. We're very on top of it, honestly.
I've really loved that we've been so consistent with
I know. I didn't think we would record like this.
I know.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But we did. We do.
Yeah.
We just prioritize it because it's fun.
Yeah. We'll have some Bridgerton reviews, I'm sure, next week. Along with everyone else. Also, because I'm getting Netflix, because Bridgerton, The Circle is back too. I saw, oh,
cool.
We just recently canceled Netflix, so I wasn't going to get it just for that, but now we got Bridgerton too, so I got to get Netflix back.
I would like to say to the people at Netflix, stop fucking dropping half of a season and then dropping the rest like a month later. No, thank you.
It's not what the people want.
No, let us binge it. And if your numbers are fucked up, that's your fault. Okay.
And we are this way because you trained us. Like, literally. Like, give us the whole thing. We know you have it. Give me it.
Right. You're not like filming right now or something. No.
This is an open letter. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Knit is in all of a sudden, I guess. I mean, I don't know. Just based on what I saw at Marshall's. So.
Yes.
I went to Marshall's. Yeah. Have you noticed this too?
Yes. And I'm here for it.
I love it. Everything's beige and white and knit.
It's millennial.
It's summer.
It's the millennial dress code. It's like we're going to wear neutrals and they're going to be soft and like white. I have a ridiculous amount of white and beige tops. I have a problem. If I see a lace white blouse, you bet your bottom dollar I'm buying it. It's so funny because as soon as you got on and you started talking about knit being in, I was like literally looking at, wait until I show you, you're gonna die, like a sweater vest that's like white.
It's so hard to see it.
I know, it's terrible. I'll just send you the link.
The amount of times we try.
Why do we always do that? It's me. I'm like, let me show you my phone.
I do it too. No, that is out of touch.
That is geriatric millennial shit for sure. I couldn't even get geriatric out just then. What else is going on? Anything?
This freaking Harrison Butker guy. I don't even know how to say his name. Have you heard about all this?
Is this the guy
idiot?
You talking about like something about women? Is this what
a
it
few
is?
things about that? Yep.
I only saw like a small snippet of it and I was like, nope.
Yes, it gives a bomb reaction. I GOL'd, I gagged out loud. So he had a commencement speech at what I'm assuming is a Catholic college. And so they may have been receptive to this. I don't know. But he apparently is very Catholic. He addressed the women graduating with degrees, telling them that they have been told diabolical lies their whole lives. And he said that he said how many of you guys are thinking about promotions and career choices that you're going to have and career options that you're going to have in your future. He's like, some of you guys will go on to lead successful careers, but I bet most of you are most excited about having a family and getting married. To the audience of students who just got degrees. Like,
does this guy have frosted tips and he's giving like advice to women? We don't want it. You could just be quiet to us. You don't have to talk to us.
Yeah.
Don't address me.
COVID a fiasco. Bit insensitive. And just kind of like the tired old man. Like, why can't men be excited about being parents? It's tired, it's old, like we're over it. And then birth control. He said if you use birth control, you're
just read that.
Playing God. You're playing God. By wanting, and I think like he may have mentioned IVF as well, as like a bad thing. Which
you know what's bad? Frosted tips.
And I just thought it was so funny. Like, he kept coming back to like people staying in their lane. This guy is a kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. So just kind of shh and go kick the ball. Okay.
Yeah. Stay in your lane.
Right.
You know how to ball. I know Aristotle. Okay. Just shut the fuck up. Okay.
There was some like homophobic stuff in there too. It was terrible.
It's giving the smallest man that ever lived.
It's so disgusting. So we don't like him. We would like him to shh and just like kick the ball if he's allowed to anymore. I would be okay if he's not allowed to even kick the ball.
Yeah, can we throw one like a flag or something at him? Which sport does he even play?
Football. He's Travis's teammate.
Okay, we're running him over.
So that guy sucks. That's just kind of what's going on this week.
I'm glad you informed me so I know where to put my bad energy, where to center it this week. That's helpful. Thanks.
Yeah, we can all kind of just focus on that.
Eat glass.
So we tend to be recording during the wine hour these days. So I thought maybe we could do a little wine review. I had a little sip of this one before we started recording as I was getting set up, and I thought, not my favorite. So
what kind is it?
This is a Chardonnay. So I will say I'm just getting into, ever since Torture Poets Department, I'm trying white wines more.
Oof, love white wine.
But I'm like getting my bearings. Like, I almost never get a bad red wine bottle because I know what I'm doing. White wine, I'm still kind of figuring it out. I don't even know Chardonnay versus Sauvignon Blanc.
I always buy the same wine, and Tori knows this. Actually, anybody who's close to me, I know you're close to me if you know what my wine is. If you know that I'm drinking Kim Crawford Sauvignon Blanc every single time, you're my people.
Hi.
But I feel like I'm the opposite. Yeah, I don't know very much about red wine. I like a Malbec. I know that. I dig a Malbec. A lot of red wine gives me a headache, and I think that's why I've always shied away from it. And white wine will, but just only if you drink too much of it, in my opinion.
I notice if I stay over $15, I almost always feel good the next day.
Yeah, that's fair.
As long as you don't like drink the whole bottle.
Right. Then that's
there's
just
no helping you. You're going to feel bad.
You're asking.
Or you have too high of a tolerance, maybe. I don't know. Or you're just fine. I don't know. But so this one's called I believe Rayburn, kind of a difficult font to read. Chardonnay, it's a 2022, so that's possibly a good year.
Maybe for someone.
Yeah, it's a little too sweet for me. And then it's got this like weird aftertaste that's like, it's like if I ate the carpet off my floor or something. It's very like, it's like it goes from a little too sweet to like this like odd taste, earthy, like I don't know.
Earthy. It's got some matcha.
1 to 10, I'll give it I'll go with a 6.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, so
you don't like the super sweet ones?
No.
I would go for a Pinot Grigio or a
Chardonnay
Sauvignon
sweet.
Blanc. I think sweeter.
Okay.
I don't think it's not Moscato sweet, but I do think it usually falls.
Yeah, Moscato is like, whoa.
I don't think any real human drinks that. I think that's just made for like 16-year-olds.
Like Seagram's days, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Last update. We're kind of past the updates, but I'm gonna pop back over to the updates for a second.
Let's do it.
We're gonna have 2 guests on the podcast next week. We're gonna have our friends Sam and Alicia on, so that's gonna be exciting. Our second episode with guests.
Wow, and we have 2. That's gonna. Yeah. I'm not even gonna know where to look. It's so hard to know.
I think we're gonna have to like raise our hands to speak.
Yeah, like you have to just mute yourself.
That'll be fun. I'm excited for that.
We could pass the baton metaphorically to each other. Yeah.
First reunion episode of Vanderpump.
I thought it was a pretty good episode. It was pretty tame. Compared to last year. I mean, they showed up last year ready to run Sandoval over multiple times and then back up and do it again. And it's a really interesting comparison this year. It's like they totally flipped scripts.
Yeah, now we're on the redemption arc, and
I'm not really decided he was going to get the redemption arc because they need to be fired. I'd like to speak to their mother and ask her to, maybe think about her choices too. I don't know. I'm just saying we didn't need that.
No. And also it's not working.
It didn't work, but everyone is still here
except for Lala.
I'm so frustrated at her. Yeah.
I know. It's the more I think about how this season has played out, the more like annoyed I'm getting with her. And and it sucks because I really was at a spot where I loved Lala.
I know, me too.
And I do still, but like it's just so weird to me, the whole her and Sheena being so buddy with Tom, but still wanting to be so buddy with Ariana. And honestly, I think Ariana has handled that very well.
I think Ariana really handled herself well. I would have thrown hands so many times. And it's interesting now looking back at the whole season, now that it's over and we're doing the reunions, because you realize just how like slow of a crawl Lala and Sheena have to like letting Tom back in. And I don't necessarily have a problem with the fact that they are moving on. The problem that I have is that now they're almost turning their anger and frustrations at Ariana when she didn't ask for any of this. All of this is a result of Tom and Rachel's actions. And Ariana is now being treated somehow like she's the villain because she has boundaries.
And honestly, like, I don't think, and I maybe I'll get a lot of hate for this, but I don't think that Tom should forever be shunned because of these actions. But I do think that if you're good friends with Ariana, you're not good friends with Tom. It literally, it's as simple as that. It's so easily digestible. Like,
it's exactly what Katie said. If he fucks over your friend, fuck him. It's just, I just don't think it's that hard to understand.
It's not, yeah. And they just can't, like, all season they've been pushing it. Especially, like, I feel like Lala at least, like, made her choice and just kind of stuck with it.
Mm-hmm.
Sheena, it just constantly, like, updating Ariana. And like, I feel like she needs to take a step back and just kind of look at the overall picture.
Yeah.
She's too, like, spun up and, like, worried about Ariana. It's just that you have to make whatever decision you feel is best for you and just move forward with that one.
Yeah, just make a decision. And like, it just baffles me that she's confused when people call her flip-flopper.
So September 1st is Lala's due date. That's exciting.
That feels like not far away, isn't it?
I know. And she's crazy. So tiny.
Yeah. We were talking about this because we watched the reunion together. Sort of. We talked through the majority of it. We both had to rewatch it. But we both were saying how interesting it was, how soft Lala's look was. The hair, the dress, the like lilac dress and nails and everything. Like, she's definitely glowing. She looks great. So that's super exciting. We were both pissed that Allie wasn't there.
Yeah, but it sounds like she's coming out later, right?
She better.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they did show her in the preview, but I wanted her there as a full-time cast member.
Right.
In the past, they often do this where there's characters, like I think Raquel started off that way, where she wasn't on the show. She was just James's girlfriend, so she was there occasionally. But Allie spent she was in every single episode and spent so much time with the cast. I felt like she was a full-time person, so she should have been on the reunion full-time. So I was just pissed about that.
I'm just here for Allie. And Anne. Where's Anne?
So, I'm interested to see. I did see also in the preview that they bring Joe out.
Yes.
So that should be interesting. It's really James's fault that Raquel got brought in. It's true. And when they started saying that, they were like, "Man, it's your fault, James." And he starts like apologizing. He's like, "Sorry, Lala. Sorry, Sheena. Sorry, Tom."
It was just so funny too how everyone started like pointing they're like, "Yeah, it's his fault."
Yeah. So also a sober James Kennedy at a reunion is interesting, and he's so quiet.
Yeah,
a lot of facial expressions.
Yes, I'm living for the James Kennedy facial expressions, and then when he does talk, it's golden.
It's good. Like put everything he says on a t-shirt. He's so funny.
He is so funny.
Like he laughs at himself too, so it's not even like he goes just as hard on himself as he does everyone else. So it's like you can't be mad at that. I'm here for James's redemption arc for sure.
Yes,
I think he has grown as a person. It's so crazy. He's definitely grown the most of the entire cast.
I was gonna say, I think his character development may be my favorite.
Yeah.
And then Katie, and then Lala. I think it was Lala, Katie, but now I'm kind of. I think I'm gonna go Katie, Lala. Yeah.
They're talking about how Tom weaponized Ariana's mental state against her, and how he's basically saying like he tried to leave her but he couldn't, and Sheena says you should have walked out the door, and he goes to interject and she says there is no but, Tom, that's the end of the sentence. And it's like, where was that energy the rest of the season, girl?
Well, she did. I will say one time she had another conversation like that when she spoke about the same topic with him out on the terrace, and he kept like trying to like, he was coming from like less of an argumentative place at that point, but he was still trying to kind of like rebut what she's saying, and she was like, no, like shut up and just like think about what I'm saying. I am proud of her for that. Like she, as annoying as she is sometimes, like I see little bits of growth with her, I will say, and her standing by Ariana every chance she gets, even though
it falls a little flat because of the other stuff, but the effort is still there.
It's better than she used to be, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was unexpected for her to stand up for Ariana a couple times. So the whole George Floyd, OJ Simpson thing, just like what in the literal fuck? Like I think we saw this happen in real time, like, what, a month or two ago or something, right?
Yeah, it was on one of the episodes, and I don't remember what the specific context was at the time, what was going on, but he makes this comment about how people are treating it like O.J. Simpson and George Floyd, and it is just the most tone-deaf thing he has probably ever said.
Yeah, just, like, and the comparison to OJ too, I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, that's strange.
That's an odd choice. Yeah, so he tries to explain it away at the reunion, and he actually didn't do a terrible job, but he says essentially he was trying to say it was about the media that he was referring to and how they're hyping up this affair like it was the O.J. Simpson trial, and it's like, yeah, but that's not how you said it. And that's not the way people took it.
I really wish I could remember, like, the way it was said, because I remember thinking almost like he was comparing himself to OJ, or, like, putting himself, like, in OJ's shoes or something. And I just remember thinking, what a strange choice.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Just odd.
Intent versus impact.
Yes, Katie said that to Tom. I think in regards to this, she was like, it doesn't matter what your intention was. It matters what the impact was. And I think that's such a important thing for people to learn, especially people who apologize and immediately follow it with, but.
Yes.
No, thank you.
Lala and Randall's first wife, I believe her name is Amber. Them being friends is really cute. I agree with that.
I love that. And yeah. I really loved listening to Lala talking about having her second daughter and how she just wants to make sure that her daughters have a companion, and she sees the relationship that Randall's other children have, and she wants to be able to give her kids a similar family. And I just think that's really beautiful that she's figuring out what that looks like for her, because family looks different to everybody. And just like, especially knowing how her and Randall's relationship started out, like, not so great. Obviously, her and Amber have not always been cool.
Right.
Because of that. So I think the fact that they just have been able to put things behind them and proceed with what's best for all the children, I think that's just great.
Yeah. And you can tell that it means so much to her. Like, this is what she really wants, I feel like,
she really is in her just like soft motherhood era. And even like the next comment in our list is about the throuple comment.
Yeah.
And first of all, Sheena seemed so uncomfortable by that. Her fake laugh afterwards was
I didn't think so.
I thought she did a good job trying to project that she wasn't, but I think deep down, I don't think she liked that personally.
I have a different take. So when I first heard about the rumors, we talked about it a little bit on the podcast, not much, but like my takeaway from that was that Brock was probably like kind of filling like somewhat of a manly role because they live so close together, like in Lala's like family, without obviously being the husband or a lover or anything like that. So like I thought that if there was some kind of joking about him being her like husband, that's what it was. And it was like a joke between the three of them. Yeah. Not that like Sheena was excluded. So that's why I thought, I guess I had like made that up in my head. And that's why I thought that like Sheena's laugh was genuine. I feel like they are kind of like a little throuple. Yeah. But I don't think Sheena actually thinks that would happen. I think it's just like she understands that it's like this intrusive thought. Yeah. And that it's not realistic, but like it is still there and it does still bother her, but I don't think she like gives much weight to it, if that makes sense.
I don't think she genuinely believes that either. Like, I just don't think either Lala or Brock, neither of them would do that to Sheena. I just don't. They both love her way too much. And I also think it's really nice that they all spend so much time together and that Lala has that sort of companionship with them, being that she doesn't have a long-term partner. I mean, I'm sure that's hard when you're raising a family, and just not having that person to share those things with. So I think it's really sweet that they all spend so much time together and they all seem super close.
And I'm assuming like Brock comes over and like if the outlets aren't working, he like fixes that, you know, like little things like that like the man sometimes does around the house.
Totally.
But I thought it was funny too.
It was funny. Yeah, it's definitely funny.
Sheena and Lala have moved to the Valley.
Yes.
And it feels like VPR's ending. So I think all of our heads are probably spinning with this one. Like, are they going to be on the Valley? Is the Valley even going to have a second season? They're not doing a reunion, which probably has something to do with Jax and Brittany splitting.
That's
so, like,
true.
Will they do a second season? I don't know. Jax is like one of the main producers on the show. So
I would love to see Lala and Kristen back on the same television show. Do you remember how much they hated each other for a while over James?
Oh my gosh. I forgot.
That was a fun feud to watch. Just saying.
Yeah, I totally forgot. Yeah.
Because they're both so strong. Like both women. Oh my gosh.
I would love to see that as well. Yeah. I'm ready for VPR to be over. I'm not ready for I'm not ready for the Valley to be over. I need like half of the cast at least to move to the Valley.
I think it would cushion the blow. Yeah.
Yes. And the Valley makes more sense. It's more organic. Like they all live together. They're actually hanging out together. Whereas VPR, like they used to all work together. Now they don't. So they have to like plan these hangouts to get like for filming, and it just doesn't feel as genuine as it used to. But the Valley does have that feel where it feels genuine because they all live right there. So I'm not ready for it to be totally over, but I'm ready for us to shift to the Valley.
I think it makes sense. And I do think it'd be cool if they revamped the Vanderpump cast and they did shift some of them to the Valley, and then we could see like more James and Allie and stuff like that. I think that would be cool if they do keep it around.
I also feel like James and Allie would fit into the Valley cast too.
You think? Allie just seems so much younger than everybody on the Valley.
That's true, yeah, but she's also younger than everyone on VPR.
She is.
And they're it seems like they're getting to that phase of their life where they're like kind of getting ready to settle down, so.
That's true. Could just be like a natural progression for them. Everyone telling Brock he's a great dad to Summer Moon.
Okay, so I think we watched the reunion together. I think we were both almost crying at this point. I mean, I was holding
very
it back.
Sweet. It was really sweet. Like everybody was singing his praises, even Katie. And I think you wrote this, like it was really nice of Katie to admit that she was wrong. Because I don't think you get that sort of recognition from Katie very often, you know. So for her to change her mind about someone, I think it only shows how genuine that person must be.
And it's such an important thing to correct yourself on too if you were wrong about like someone's parenting. Like I'm glad that she recognized that like, hey, this is a moment when I need to be like, I was wrong and you are a great dad. So I'm getting like goosebumps. So sweet.
Yeah.
You wrote this one.
Brock and James. Yeah, they I don't remember what James was talking about, but he was upset with something, and Brock was like, "I'm sorry we all made you feel that way." And James was like, "Oh, Brock texted me yesterday." And I was just like, "Okay, I'm here for the Brock and James friendship. Like I would love to see more of that because they're both so funny." When Andy's talking about something about her not being open yet, Schwartz's smile
like ear to ear
across his face. It's giving Grinch. It's giving, you know, like the original Grinch. It was just so perfect. And he tries to like hide it, but you just see that he's like, yeah, karma.
I know. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was really funny seeing that. And then also, I just found out today that what the SAH acronym is for. Can we chill out with the fucking acronyms? Just like overall, like PSA to the fucking world. Can we? There's too many acronyms. Not every Taylor Swift song that has more than 3 words in it needs an acronym. Type it out. Like how?
Do you know how many songs she has? I will never be able to guess.
Type it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, figuring out what these are all the time. Okay, so I'm going into a rant about this because I saw the SAH on a Reddit post and I was like, what are they talking about? And then I was like typing out something about her and I'm like, I thought about doing the acronym because that's what everyone does. And I'm like, oh, that's what it was. It was something about her. Anyways, okay.
That's hilarious.
Stop with the acronyms.
Like, I can do it with a broken heart. No, it doesn't have to be an acronym. It doesn't.
It's a couple short words. Type it out. We all type 1,000 words a minute these days, right? Like,
whenever my kids see me typing on the computer, they're like, how the fuck do you type that fast? It's insane. Like, because I've been doing it for my entire life.
Wow, I just assumed that kids would be doing that when they're like 6 these days.
I don't think that they're as used to typing. Like, we had actual classes teaching us how to type. I don't think they do that anymore. And I think they're just used to touch
tablets, right? They use tablets in school and
stuff. So they're
stuff?
probably really fast at like texting like that. They're like, this is why we have to use acronyms. Because we don't know how to type.
Sheena supporting Lala, that it is cute that they're
like once Lala started going in with Katie, there were a couple times where like Katie would get flustered and say something and then Sheena would be like, well, didn't you and she was definitely like coming to Lala's defense without being overly aggressive. It just felt like she was trying to be supportive and like,
I agree,
kind of get the truth out, whatever that may be.
I do feel like Lala feels a little uncomfortable being seated away from Sheena. Because it's the two girls, Lala, James, and then Sheena's like on the other side. Maybe they didn't want all the girls on one side. But yeah, I feel like Lala keeps like looking over to Sheena.
She does. She's definitely looking for support, so.
James's smile when Lala broke the news about Ariana being late on rent.
Yeah. He was like, what?
And then too, when Lala calls him out about like living in the comments too, I think he did that.
He's like, what? He did. That's what I'm saying. Like, sober James Kennedy is so funny because he's still like a little sassy, but he's like, he's not hateful at all. He's just silly. Yeah, really great.
He's so funny. He's one of the funniest. And I remember even when he wasn't sober, like I was so conflicted because I'm like, he's such a dick. But like that was really funny.
He's
like
so like he has the best one-liners. He always has. He knows how to throw an insult. It's not about the pasta.
So Katie like put out that like story too on her Instagram about, and it seems like her and Ariana are in a good place, I think, still.
Yeah.
I think whatever was said, like Ariana was already like informed of it, or they talked about like it right after.
But she also seemed like when Lala was talking, she seemed genuinely just like sad. If you saw Ariana's face, like whenever they would cut to her while Lala was talking, she just seemed kind of like bummed. Yeah, you know, like that.
Summer House is still very interesting. Lindsay is now offended that Carl's mom has concerns about them getting married, which seems like a bit of a strange take. Like, I would be like, why? You know, like, what can I do to, like, and I think Lindsay did say this to Carl's mom, like, what can I do to, like, comfort you and, like, make you feel better about it? But at the same time, I feel like she just said that because she feels like that's what she should say to her. But then to Carl, she seems, like, annoyed by the fact that Carl's, like, she's like, what do I have to console you? Because you're upset that your mom said, kind of. Yeah, you kind of need to, like, say something to make it better. I don't know. Like,
yeah.
That it's just strange that she's so upset about it. They had tarot readings and Paige went up there and asked if she's going to get engaged this year, and they said yes. And then she asked if her fiance is going to move to New York, and they said yes. So apparently Craig's moving to New York.
I think that's what's going. If they decide to get married, Craig is moving to New York. Paige is not moving to South Carolina.
I don't know. She has said a lot of times, I can't remember if it's on the I think it was on the podcast that like, and I think it was on Southern Charm too, that when she plans on having children, like she doesn't really see herself in this city.
Yeah. I could see them like doing both too. Like,
yeah, I think that
having
may
two
end up
homes, you know, like it makes sense that they would.
Yeah. Amanda wants to start her own business now. But Loverboy is the business that Amanda and Kyle started together. They're kind of not doing great right now, so Kyle's flipping out that Amanda wants to like work on something else because he feels like he needs all hands on deck with Loverboy. So that's been a whole thing between the two of them. But Carl wants to go back to work for Loverboy. They came out with like a non-alcohol, and he's sober. They came out with like a non-alcoholic beverage, and he's getting this opportunity from Kyle to come back and work for them. And that's what Lindsay's one of her big things is that he doesn't have a 9 to 5.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, oh, now I can go work back for Loverboy again and like have a 9 to 5. I'm actually invested in it, so like, you know, I'm making money in more than one way. And she feels like he's backstepping because he was working for Loverboy before and wasn't happy. So she is, I don't know, not happy about it, but it seems very, if it's feeling nitpicky.
If your main bugaboo is that your partner doesn't have a 9 to 5 and then they get a 9 to 5 and you're like, well, not this 9 to 5. It's like,
right.
Okay, cool.
And it's something he's passionate about too. Like I think some of the reason he left Loverboy is because he was sober working for a company selling alcohol. But like this is an opportunity to work for that same company where your best friend is the boss and you've done good at it before, and now you're working for something that you believe in, which is a non-alcoholic beverage. So
it makes sense. Like it seems like a good opportunity for him. And also, if he's been able to work through things with Kyle and Amanda and they can have a healthy work relationship, then why shouldn't they?
Right. Yep. Paige had the talk with Wes. So Wes is, I don't know if you know Sierra because you watched a while ago. Do you do know Sierra?
Yeah.
Okay. So Sierra's like best friends with Paige, and also Hannah, who we don't see Hannah anymore on Summer House.
Oh,
but
interesting. I never even thought like, yeah, I just thought they know each other because of the show, but that's so cool that they're all friends.
I only know that because I listen to Giggly Squad, which is such a good podcast. Love that.
They're very good. Yeah.
Yeah. But Paige like had the talk with Wes, who I guess is Sierra's boyfriend. All of a sudden she's calling him her boyfriend, but I haven't really seen like them agree to that. So I'm a little bit confused. I don't know if I missed something or
maybe she's just assuming.
It sounds like they haven't like slept together yet either, but they've been having this like connection for quite a while now. And I think that's kind of a bugaboo of Wes is he's like he said to Paige it's kind of weird to call someone my girlfriend who I haven't even slept with. But then he had like a confessional. It seems like he may be having some other like second thoughts about like being in a relationship in general too. So like Paige had like the talk of like, if you hurt her, like I will kill you. And she said, I know most people say that, but like really I will kill you. So
yeah, she's got peoples.
We love Paige for that.
Yeah, she's got peoples for that. For sure. She's a mob wife. She's not even married, but she's a mob wife. So
for sure.
Do not mess with Paige.
So for story time, we have a travel theme this week.
Yeah.
I don't think either of us have any like big long stories, but we have quite a few like little ones. Yeah. So we can see how many we'll get.
Okay, so after I graduated from high school, a couple weeks later, I went to Europe. So a few of my friends and I, we had just graduated when we went, which was super exciting.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was so fun. So it was, I want to say like 15 to 20 of us, probably something like that. Yeah. And I had 4 of my friends who were there.
All we got was Universal Studios.
I know. It was such a cool opportunity. And I took French from 7th grade on. So every year, you would think that I would be fluent in it, but I'm not. But at the time, I did okay.
Je m'appelle Tori.
Wow. Je m'appelle Amber.
Yeah.
That's
True.
awesome. True.
I know. Sorry, can I flex a little bit longer?
Yeah, please.
I always thought the word pig in French was so beautiful.
What is it?
It's like cochon or cocochon. It's one of those. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I also did a lot of French.
That's awesome.
Too much. Yeah.
It's beautiful. But I did not pay attention. I just loved my French teacher. So it was my first plane ride ever.
Oh, wow. Ooh,
yeah.
That's a long one for your
France.
first one. Oh.
Yes.
How'd it go? How did that part go?
I was a hot mess the day of. I was so nervous.
It's not even like you can pound a bunch of wine because you're not 21.
No. The first day of the trip, we flew into Paris. Like, oh, I felt so gross after that flight. Like, it was so long. And
you need an instant shower for sure. And all the stress sweat too, especially your first flight. Like,
yes, so stressed. And so we explored that day, and then that night after dinner, everybody went back to the hotel, and then they took us out to a couple pubs. And the one that we were at was serving margaritas by like the pitcher. So we just kept getting pitchers of margaritas. Oof. And they were like so cheap. It was like €5 or something.
Woof.
So we were pretty intoxicated. We're having a great time. My girlfriends and I go to the bathroom, and we're just like bebopping out of there. And one of my friends like grabs me, and she's like, "Amber, your dress is tucked into your thong. You cannot walk out there like this." And that's when I knew like it was going to be a fun time, you know?
So that has happened to me before, and a stranger stopped me from like re-entering.
Thank God.
What a angel. Yeah. Of
if
a
you're
person.
ever a girl in the bathroom and you see that, it is your duty to tell them.
Yes.
Like, girl,
and when it's
fix yourself.
A thong too, it's just like a whole other level. Like, because it can happen with any underwear. Yes. Where the skirt or the dress gets caught in the back as you pull your pants up.
Yeah.
And you don't know.
It's like you're so exposed in a thong.
It's almost like you're at the dermatologist or something.
Yeah. So that was great. The guys that were in our friend group, our tour guide, Guillaume, had introduced them to a beer that was called 16. And in French, 16 means 16. And so the second night that we were in France, so he had introduced them to this beer, and they really liked it. So since, oh, by the way, of my friend group, I was the only one who took French. So none of my friends took any French. So they pretty much relied on me to be like, what am I supposed to say? And I'd be half the time be like, I don't fucking know. And so we were out to dinner with our whole group, which again was like 15 to 20 people. So it was a pretty large group. We're out to dinner one night. And the boys try to order that beer, and they're like, can I get says? And they brought us 16. Other people had been ordering like wine. They brought us 16 glasses of rosé.
Oh.
Yeah. And so by the time they brought it out, we're like, oh, wow, we have to pay for 16 glasses of wine. So we shared it with the group. And then like we all still wound up with like 3 glasses of rosé. And at the time, like I was not a big wine drinker, 18. I don't know anything about wine. And it was so, I just remember being like, this is disgusting. So France was like, it was so cool to see, and it was beautiful and everything, but we had a lot more fun in Spain. People were really nice to us. And we just so happened to be in Barcelona when Spain was in the Euro Cup. And
that's cool.
So that was, I think, probably the most exciting part of the entire trip. And Barcelona, Spain was our last stop. It was at the end of the trip. And so since they were in the Euro Cup, go ahead.
It's Barcelona.
Barcelona. We had a tour guide who took us around to visit all the do you know the church La Sagrada Familia? Do you recognize that name? If you saw it, you
Yes.
probably would
I
recognize it.
recognize the name. I know
Yes.
nothing about
So
why I recognize the name.
it's a church that's being built. It's not finished. It's been in the process of being built for like 145 years. Like this church is old as shit and it's not even done. I think it's projected to be done next year, I'm pretty sure.
Oh.
But
Are they pyramids built on top of each other? I don't understand.
Google it. Look at this thing. Like the detail on this church is like,
say the name again.
La Sagrada Familia.
Okay. It's coming up. Jeez, wow. That's cool.
It's so cool. And so the artist who designed it is this guy named Gaudi, and he's super weird. And so we got to check out a bunch of his art in Barcelona, and the whole time the tour guide would say Barcelona, and it just like we were 18 and under years old. We did not appreciate that pronunciation. We would just giggle every single time. We're like, we're so tired of looking at Gaudi's work. Can we go now? Like everything is cool, but it's weird. There's this one park that we went to.
Lot. It's like the Mozart of art. Like
it's so detailed.
Yeah. It's like you're looking at a skeleton almost.
Yeah. It's kind of creepy looking. Yeah. So anyway, while we were in Barcelona, the Euro Cup was going on, Spain was playing. So our whole group went. And these bars are packed, okay? Like it is insane how packed the bars are because of this soccer game. And
football.
They end up winning. So Spain wins the Euro Cup while we're in Spain. And I swear I've never seen this many people in my entire life. The streets were literally flooded and people were just singing and dancing and running. And it was unreal to be a part of that. I think it just made the entire trip for all of us. I loved that our whole group was there. It was a really cool experience to be there with so many.
It's almost religious. Like it feels not like that it's actually religious, but it feels like this religious experience when you're in a group of so many people, like just experiencing the same thing and like being excited about it. I don't know.
It's like being at the Eras tour. Like
yes.
If we can just bring everything back to Taylor. And so just Spain was awesome. We did a really cool boat ride in the Mediterranean. The guy driving the boat, he like pulled off in this little alcove and just turned the boat off. And we were all just like, oh, this is where we die. They're going to murder us. And he just jumps off the boat into the water and he's like, what are you guys doing? Get in. And we did. Like people, not everyone, but the majority of us like took our clothes off and jumped right in. Like it was so cool.
That's so much fun. Wow.
It was so cool. Like just one of those experiences that you can't plan. It was like the same thing as us just happened to be in Barcelona when Spain's in the Euro Cup. It was just unbelievable experience. Oh, it was so much fun and super cool. But yeah, so like the most my biggest memories are the boat, the Euro Cup, and my dress being tucked into my thong in Paris.
I'm glad that one made the list because I was waiting. I'm like, is she going to mention the thong?
That's the funniest part of the whole trip, honestly. Yeah. So it was a really great experience. I'm so lucky that my parents let me do that.
That's so cool, honestly. And at that age too, it's like, I don't know, that's just such a cool experience. So I talked a little bit about my trip back from Oregon on a previous episode. I talked about hitting the deer and stuff. So this is a little snippet into the same trip, different part of the trip. So I got to Austin. I said me and my dog. I got to Austin. I was only supposed to stay in Austin for like 3 days, I think. And I got the nicest hotel in Austin because I think it was the only like big city I was staying in. And I got it for a really good deal. It wasn't like prime tourism season or anything. So I always use the like Priceline Express deals, And I got a really good deal on staying at the Westin, which is a super fancy hotel.
That's awesome.
Yes, but also I'm not used to staying at super fancy. So a couple things happened right off the bat. So you pull in, there's nowhere to park. You're in the middle of downtown. So I pull in, and the next thing you know, people are taking my car, and people are like grabbing my luggage and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on? Right. And they're just like shimmying it around. And I just go up to the counter and I'm trying to check in. They see I have my dog with me. Most of the hotels I stayed at, you have to pay a pet deposit. Totally makes sense. I'm totally okay with that. My dog was emotional support certified. And I will say, like, my dog doesn't have many great reasons to be emotional support certified, but I really didn't have many options because it was going to be just her and I like I knew that I was going to have to stop and go like shopping a time or two on the trip, so I had to get the certification so that I wasn't leaving her in the car when I had to go to Walmart or something. So like this isn't something I abused. I guess I did abuse it in this sense, but like I've never really used it again besides being on the trip.
Gotcha.
So, but we did use it on the trip. So I get there. I didn't even use it for all the hotels I stayed at. Like I just paid the pet fees instead of saying, oh, she's emotional support, I'm not paying it. I paid all of them until so I get to the Westin. It was $250 a night
for the pet
pet deposit.
I'm sorry. No.
No, let me read that back. Yeah, it was $250 a night. And I was like, you know what? I just wasn't expecting that. And I cannot do that. And I was like, no, she's a service animal. I can't.
We won't be doing that.
Right. I can't do that. She's a service animal. And they're like, oh, what is she a service animal for? And I'm looking at her and I'm like, I don't feel comfortable disclosing that information.
And I don't think you have to.
No, you don't. And I know that you don't have to because I worked for Sam's Club and we were not allowed to ask people what their animals were certified for.
I thought that was half the point of doing that, is that nobody can question it.
And I was like, well, I don't feel comfortable telling you. And they're like, oh, okay, well, you have to give us like your certification so we can like scan it and stuff. So I did that. They scanned it and the pet fee was waived. So all of the flooring in this hotel is like marble tile. My dog doesn't do great on anything really but like earth and carpet. So
just good old-fashioned grass.
Yes. So after like arguing with them for like 30 minutes that my dog is a service animal certified.
She cannot walk on this marble.
I have to walk away from the service counter to the elevator.
Incredible.
And as I'm walking away, my dog is looking like a deer on ice. Her legs are just spreading out from under her. I almost feel like I need to pick her up.
Yeah, and she's pretty big, and Tori's pretty petite.
She's like 50 pounds. I almost feel like I need to pick her up and carry her to the elevator.
Yeah.
Also, she doesn't do super great with elevators. She'll get in them, but she kind of gets real low.
I can imagine for a dog that's got to be super disorienting.
Yes. So after arguing with them that this is my service animal, I need her.
And she's just sliding all over the place.
It kind of appeared the other way that she needed me more so. So I get to the elevator. We finally slide our way to the elevator. And I get in the elevator, and this guy in the elevator with me is looking at my dog, and he's like, oh, it's a service animal, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, yeah. And I'm chatting with him, and I'm looking at this guy, and I'm like, you look so familiar. And he's like, really? He's like, where are you from? And I'm like, oh, I'm from this city. And he's like, oh, I've been to this city for like this convention and that convention. I'm like, I have not been to those at all. I don't think so. And then he goes, have you seen Teen Mom? And I'm like, oh. And it clicked for me. I'm like, yes, I have. It was Farrah's dad, Michael.
No.
Yes. In the
Plot
elevator
twist.
with me. Yes. As
Dang.
my dog is Bambiing still.
Yeah, she's like, can you hold me, sir?
Yeah, and he's talking to me about how like Farrah has like the pony, which is a service animal too, and like the nicest guy. He's just like chit-chatting back and forth. I was like 20 floors up, so like we had quite some time to chit-chat. I was trying to FaceTime one of my best friends who's a huge teen mom.
That's hilarious.
Fan. I'm like, do you mind if I like FaceTime her? And he's like, no, that's fine. But she wasn't available at the time. So
you'd never been so pissed to miss a FaceTime call.
Missed that. Yeah. But yeah, that was just so funny that he was in the elevator with me.
If you had told me at the beginning of the story, okay, there's going to be a D-list celebrity in this story, I would have never guessed.
Right. This story takes a couple turns.
Farrah's father.
Yes. And I don't love Farrah, but I've always loved Michael. I will say.
Yeah, I always felt bad for him.
Yes. Yep. Why does she call him Michael?
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So then I still have this squad of people, right?
With just watching.
with my luggage and stuff. Like I don't know what the hell they're doing because this is all new to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, why? They're just carrying everything behind me. I'm not used to this kind of service.
That's
right?
Wild.
They went and like parked my car and stuff. I didn't have any cash on me. I did not realize that coming to a fancy hotel, first of all, I didn't realize it was an option for them to take your stuff. They just kind of like were grabbing my stuff, and it was a whirlwind.
They just assume you've got the money to tip them.
And they just took my car and valeted it. Like they didn't even ask me. They're just like, I'll go park it.
That's the only option.
They said, I'll go park it. And I said, okay. I didn't realize.
I've never been in this situation before.
So, I felt so bad. So we get up there and they're just kind of like hovering after they like unloaded the luggage. And at this point, I'm like, oh shit, am I supposed to tip these people? And I'm like looking for cash. I just didn't have any cash on me. So I wasn't able to tip them. I did go down. I went to the ATM that day, like very soon after.
Yeah.
And I did go to the desk and I asked if I could. I gave them money and asked them to give it to those people. So I hope that it made it back.
Should have just given them snacks out of your bag, you know? Like that's what I would like. Here, you want some gum?
Oh my god!
Like in Home Alone.
Yeah, that's my little. It was kind of a whirlwind. Yeah, we had Bambi, we had Michael, we had tipping extravaganza.
I just also want to say that if any dog out there was meant to be a service dog, it's Bella.
Yes.
Yeah, she is so supportive.
She is sweet. Absolutely the best girl. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she is emotional support for sure. Anytime I cry or I'm upset, like she is right. She licks the tears away from my face.
Yeah. I experienced this recently with my dog and I was like, oh, you're getting upset. No.
Like, we don't deserve them. We really don't.
We don't. No, we really
the best
don't.
Creatures.
Oh my God. Unconditionally.
Also, I keep thinking maybe we should kind of put out there too that we just like we don't like super condone doing drugs and alcohol to a high level. I feel like every time like we're editing, I'm like maybe we should like kind of pop that PSA out there. Like,
also most of our stories are from when we were very young,
right?
You know, we're geriatric millennials at this point, so we've lived a little bit.
And I don't condone young people now doing what we did either. Like,
no.
Please heed our warning. Like, listen to this and say no, thank you. I don't think we've ever told like a good story of us being inebriated, maybe slightly.
But the funny ones aren't good,
right?
Yes, we don't condone that.
No, just kind of live it through us and be done with it. Trust me, you don't want that.
You don't need to go through.
We did it so you don't have to.
Right. You can just listen to story time.
Yeah.
And don't be a dumbass.
Yeah.
Follow us on Instagram at Out of Touch PCast. Follow us on TikTok at Out of Touch Moments, or send us an email, please. Our email address is still spelled wrong. But it is outoftouchcast@gmail.com. And once again, if you're the person who emailed us a while ago, we would like to know if you're a human. So just pop us a quick email so we can be sure. Boom. Bye.